Hi, I'm Chuck Colson with this week's 2-minute warning. If you read George Orwell's classic novel, 1984, you'll recognize the term newspeak. Newspeak was the language of Big Brother used to control people's minds. Newspeak manipulated words, changed their meaning, and even eliminated some of them, like freedom, from the vocabulary. Well, last December at Georgetown University, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton delivered a speech where she ever so subtly engaged in newspeak, and I can only conclude she knew what she was saying. The speech was about human rights, and here's the heart of what she said, and I quote, "To fulfill their potential, people must be free to choose laws and leaders to share and access information. To speak, criticize, and debate, they must be free to worship, associate, and to love in the way that they choose." Just 2 sentences. Mrs. Clinton revealed the government's desire to diminish freedom of religion and elevate the gay agenda to the level of an inalienable human right. Yeah, okay, I can hear some of you saying, Chuck, you're going a little far on this one. I only wish I were. Twice in her speech, Mrs. Clinton referred to freedom of worship. But freedom of worship is not the same as freedom of religion, which is guaranteed in the Bill of Rights. Writing in the Denver Catholic Register, Theologian George Weigel hit the nail on the head. Let me read it. Religious freedom includes the right to preach and evangelize, to make religiously informed moral arguments in the public square, and to conduct the affairs of one's religious community without undue interference from the state. If religious freedom only involves the freedom to worship, then there's religious freedom in Saudi Arabia, where Bibles and evangelism are forbidden, but expatriate Filipino laborers can attend Mass in the U.S. Embassy compound in Riyadh. Mrs. Clinton was not so subtle when it came to the gay agenda. Is there a fundamental human freedom, as she claims, to love in the way you choose? No, not with incest, bigamy, and pedophilia. Nevertheless, as Weigel wrote, the promotion of the so-called lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered agenda had just been declared a human rights priority of the United States in the same sentence in which the Secretary of State offered an anorexic description of religious freedom. Look, the distinction between freedom of worship and freedom of religion is critical. Can you imagine a day when the government says to a church or religious organization, worship any way you want, but you'd better hire practicing homosexuals. You'd better buy insurance to cover your employees' abortions. And don't you dare preach that homosexual behavior is a sin. Well, I can imagine it. I'm also not surprised that the administration has yet to fill the vacant post of Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom. But it's managed to appoint someone to the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission who has said she can't imagine a case where gay rights wouldn't trump religious rights. Here's the point, folks. We Christians must never forget this. Freedom of religion is a fundamental human right precisely because we are made in God's image, and freedom itself is inherent in the very nature of God. God in his goodness gives us the freedom to follow him or not. Thus, freedom of religion is from God, not a gift from the Secretary of State, or not a concession by government. No Secretary of State, no government has the right to take it or define it away. Make this point clear to your friends and associates while you still can. I'm Chuck Colson. That's this week's 2-Minute Warning.